So what's going on, everyone? BJKU here from BJK University. We've got Ken Leighton here with us, one of our students who's been with us for a few months, launched the product, got some success, although it seems like there's some turbulence right now that we're working on, but wanted to bring him on where he can share his experience with everybody, whether if you are a new student of BJK University or someone looking into enrolling in BJK University, this would be a great great, I guess, overlook on the entire journey, what it looks like, what to expect, and some things. So, Ken, man, good to have you here. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thanks, Bashar. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So why don't you give us kind of one of the first questions that I always like to start with is, why Amazon?
For the longest time, I've always been a shopper of Amazon. My kids have shopped Amazon. Everything, it seemed like the purchasing we would do was, let's go look on Amazon.
Right.
I thought, instead of always giving the money towards Amazon, let's see, is there an opportunity to try to make some from it? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that drove me to start thinking, okay, well, I've heard people sell on Amazon before. And of course, you see the videos on YouTube and all of that.
Yeah.
So I just started giving it some thought. And then I saw your video and your information one day. And there's something about you that clicked for me.
Okay.
I think it was more your honesty, I think, on how you came across. I love the fact that you said, look, you're not going to have a Lamborghini or that boat tomorrow or next month. This is real work. And I thought, he's right. So yeah, I thought that was cool.
That's awesome. How do you feel like the business has so far impacted your life, or can also impact your life in the next months and the next years?
Well, it's sort of like it impacted my life already last week. I think I posted on the Facebook group.
Yeah.
I was on a trip and my fuel filter on my truck went, and I was stuck in a very remote place. And the repair costs for me, it was $780. At that point, that was a fair amount of money, unexpected. And, I realized, I'd been selling pretty well on the product, and I had made that amount of money over a 3-day period, and it was there. So I kind of relaxed. I was like, okay, the money's there.
Yeah.
It's doing exactly what I hoped it would do. And so it covered my repair.
That's awesome.
I thought that was awesome. I thought,
yeah.
The goal for me wasn't making 20, 30,000 a month out of the gate. It was making a couple extra grand.
Right.
So if something went wrong, I would have some money, and damned if it didn't.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. That's super cool. It's got to be a great feeling, right?
Yeah, that was good. It was really good. And I happened to just look at my seller's account that day, and it was, I think, there was $250 in sales, and I thought, cool. I said, while my car is getting repaired, I was making some passive income. I thought, that's what it's about. And I was pretty excited.
That's awesome, man. How long were you looking at selling on Amazon before you actually decided to pull the trigger and go for it?
About 6 months. So I had created my seller account prior to joining, because I was starting to get really serious about doing it. But I just didn't know how to do it. Like, I set up the account, and now it was like, okay, now what?
Right.
Yeah. So it was about 6 months before joining the university.
Got it. So, you seem like an intelligent guy. We were having a conversation here right before we started. And I always ask this, like, why didn't you actually start this? Like you already created your Amazon Seller Central account. So a lot more serious than a lot of people. Why not go about, let's find a product, let's launch it, let's go for it. Why did you think that maybe you need a mentor?
because I spent hours literally like YouTube trying to learn how to source a product and then how to ship the product. And, you know, one person on YouTube might contradict another person on YouTube. And then, you know, somebody was asking for a lot of money to join. And I thought, yeah, something's not right here. So I got overloaded, to be honest with you, because I was trying to work my career, travel for work, and then put this together. And it just was all really a lot of information that kind of was different from each other.
Right.
And I thought, I can't do this right now. So I kind of put it on hold for a little bit.
Mm. So what you're saying is you were interested, you started researching online, and then you found a bunch of information, but it was contradicting each other, and that's why you got overwhelmed a little more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've done businesses before, and it just seemed like there was too much out there, and the promises were like, hey, you can do this tomorrow or next month, or, you know, just come and join me. And, you know, I don't know. It just, that didn't strike me as the best way of doing it. So I just kind of call it on hold. And I said, wait a minute, let's just rethink.
Mm.
So I was really thinking of not doing it for a while until I realized I saw your videos, and I've watched them a couple times before I pulled the trigger, because I wanted to make sure.
Sure. What were you
Yeah.
looking for in a mentor? What was like one of the couple things that you were looking at?
No BS.
No BS.
You know,
Okay.
no BS. No promises of, you know, the mansions, because to me, I've already gone through that.
Yeah.
I've heard that promise before, and I've fallen for it before. And I wanted just honesty. It's like, okay, how do I do this? Simple. What do I need to do? And that was a hard thing to find.
Interesting. Okay. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your product. Obviously, not mention what the product is, but you know, I know what it is personally. I believe you've done a great job at finding the product, differentiating it, really making it stand out, and obviously from the way that your product has gone to do very well. What is your net profit per unit, by the way?
I'm at 13 and some change.
So that's awesome. You know, that's pretty amazing. And it's at, what is it, a $25, $30 price point, right? Or a little more?
Well, $20 right now.
Okay, 20. So out of $20 to be profiting that much is actually really awesome. I personally haven't seen that, because usually we go for about a 25% net profit. So that would be like $5, $6. So the fact that you could profit $13 is amazing. Tell us a little bit about, for those listening in, again, if you are a newbie to BJK University or looking to enroll or even start on Amazon, what are some tips that you can give people watching right now, starting out, about finding a product, and that were some of the things that truly helped you find a great product?
Follow what you say.
Okay. Okay.
Seriously. And really using your platform, honestly. It's watch what you do, listen to what you say, and then go back and listen again. I can't say that enough. It's sort of like, you only remember 10, 15% of what you hear, maybe if you're lucky, right? In a conversation, you've got to go back and listen. There's a lot of golden nuggets that you say in your training, about what not to do, and you know, what to do. And Helium 10 also helped me tremendously, right? So Helium 10, that's a fantastic tool.
Yeah.
I remember going through Helium 10 the first time and looking at X-ray, and I was going, holy crap, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's an amazing tool. So to be honest with you, that Helium 10 combined with what you were teaching, that helped me find that exact product. And I wasn't even looking for this product. I was strictly looking at the numbers.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing I would say is, don't have expectations of what you're going to sell in the beginning. I think for me, it's just look for the product that meets the requirements, the criteria.
So it doesn't matter what category, doesn't matter what, like, don't come with a fixated mind that I want to sell in this category or that category. It's like, whatever, as long as the numbers are there, go for it.
For me, that's how I thought about it. Originally, I was going to do some camping gear because I love camping, and looked, and that's an incredibly competitive market. And I thought, okay, I'm getting frustrated. I can't find the products. You know, Amar would find one in 20 minutes. You would find one in 10 minutes. And I was like, wait a minute, this isn't working. But then I said, okay, forget the category. Start searching numbers.
Yeah.
And for me, that worked. Once I did that and I found the product, I went to the 15 commandments. I looked through all of those steps, and finally said, okay, that's what I'll do. I'll choose that one.
How did you, again, you've done a great job with packaging. You've done a great job with differentiation, in my opinion. How did you go about, like, did you have previous experience about like packaging and physical products and stuff like that? How did you go about figuring out how to do that and differentiating? What was your process there?
So I've sold advertising for newspapers many, many years ago.
Okay.
But I use Fiverr. Once again,
Fiverr
recommendation. I reached out to those guys.
Okay.
Had a logo design in a week or less. Package design within about a week. Once I had all that done, I mean, then the manufacturer did the rest. I mean, it was pretty easy, I thought. You know, once you knew how to do it, and once again, you know, recommendations that you've given on how to go through. Just got to sort out what person you want to go with and how much you want to pay for the service.
Got it.
But it wasn't that expensive.
Okay. Okay.
But I knew the kind of design I was looking for in the packaging.
Interesting. Now, I know recently we started doing these breakout sessions, which I'm hosting for now. And I think you've attended like a couple times, 2-3 times or something like that, right?
Yep.
And this was just recently. Now, you've been in BJK University for how long now?
Since June.
Since June. Okay, so you're. I mean, it's only been a couple months. Have me and you never interacted before this, right? Before the the breakout sessions like a couple of weeks ago, right?
No, this is the first time.
Okay, so the reason why I'm asking this is because some people are like, man, you know, the community is getting big, and now you guys have like other coaches that are helping. You guys have Amar, you guys have Hind, you know, and you're not as much interacting like in the day-to-day, like answering questions in the group, because the program is so big, and I have to kind of make sure that I, you know, lead the entire company as a whole, right? But I'm still in those sessions. Did you see that to impact your results at all, or do you feel like what we have there is good enough? Or I guess, would you get the same result had I been there, or do you think that it would be different? Or what was your experience there? Did you expect something differently and got something else? Or
you're talking about the Monday and Friday?
I'm talking about just the whole thing, the fact that like I'm not the person answering questions in the group. I'm not the person hosting the weekly webinars. Do you think that would have impacted anything, or do you feel like what we have there is great enough as long as you get the information? It's like, well, who cares where you're getting it from?
Yeah, I think it wouldn't have mattered, I believe, if you were answering the questions or, you know, someone else was answering the questions. If it's relevant and it gets the answers,
right?
To me, that's important. I mean, to expect you to be there and answer every question. I mean, the fact that you're on the call, I think, is pretty dang amazing.
Right.
That you're committing yourself to that. I mean, that's pretty awesome. But, you know, the answer is what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Got
Right?
it.
So I think that platform is helpful.
Okay. Now you mentioned something earlier about Amar finding products. So you're talking about the one-stay lives, right?
Yeah.
Did those help you at all, like finding products?
Yeah, because I get to look and remember, oh, I have to click here and I have to run this filter. And I forgot to run that filter before because I don't do it as often, so I'm not as fluid in it, right?
Right.
So seeing someone actually going and doing that with their computer screen, to me, that's helpful.
Right. Okay. So for those of you that are watching, what he's talking about is every Wednesday, our coaches go through and host a live session where they go through product research. And I think now they're changing it up. They're doing 1 week product research, 1 week contacting suppliers, 1 week analyzing PPC, 1 week, they're like changing it up a little bit because students been asking for that. So if you're enrolled in BJK University, be sure that you utilize those tools and actually show up. You mentioned you have a full-time career. How are you balancing, or how have you been balancing the time between, job, work, and like running your business? How many hours have you been investing per week and so on?
In the beginning, I was putting in at least 30 hours a week just to get the product launch going.
Okay.
And that's the front end, the heavy lifting. That to me, I needed to do that the right way. So I would stay up late at night, or I would wake up in the morning and I would carve out some time.
Okay.
As I'm probably doing 10 hours a week just between studying and relearning stuff and staying on top of my listings.
Got it.
Or listing.
So you're trying to tell me that this is like a full-time job. For someone watching, they're like, well, I don't know if I can put in 30 hours a week. How am I going to do that?
I think it requires a good bit of focus. I think if you're serious about it, you've got to find the time.
So you're trying to say that I can't put in 5 hours a week and then like make $1 million by next summer?
I would think so. If you can, good luck.
Okay, so this is as real as they come. This is a real business. I have to be committed. I have to be ready to put in work and actually show up and do what it takes, huh?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are your projections for your business in the next, let's say, 12 months? Where do you believe it can go to should things keep progressing the way that they have been for you?
In the next 12 months, I hope to have probably another, maybe 2 products out there, in addition to the one that I have. My goal is to get the 100K a month club, and I hopefully within a year, I'm hoping I should be able to get there. A year and a half. I'm trying to be realistic in that goal.
Okay, so 12 to 18 months, you want to get to 100K per month. Great, that's awesome, man. That's a great goal. Well, 2 questions, 2-part question. Number 1, what were some of your biggest struggles when you were starting out? What was like one of the things that it's like, man, this is just tough?
For me, it was putting up the extra money that was hard to get, and then trusting in the process.
Okay.
Right. In that unknown of, will it actually work?
Right.
Right. Because I got in my head a lot thinking there's thousands and thousands of people selling on Amazon. There's professional sellers out there.
Right.
I'm just this guy trying to get one product out there.
Yeah.
That was scary as hell.
How did you overcome that?
Just have to keep moving forward. The other option of not doing something is to stay where I'm at right now.
So for you, it's like, well, if I don't do this, then I don't know what's on the other side. And I'm just going to stay here, where this could be the thing that will take me to this next thing that I want to get to in life.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm guaranteed if I don't do it, I'm guaranteed staying where I am. If I can just urge up to continue, then there's that potential of something else.
Sure, absolutely. Okay.
Mhm.
What do you feel like are, this is the second part to this question. What do you feel like could be the struggles to get you to that 100K a month?
Scaling it,
Okay.
I think scaling and getting to the level of having enough inventory and getting the right product. Because a concern of mine is, okay, Amazon only allows 1,000 units to be
Right.
stored in their warehouses. How do you get to that next level of really massive sales when you have that warehouse restriction? How do you do that? And those sorts of things.
Right, right, absolutely. And just a quick answer is, as your sales progress, your limit also opens up. So you could, because right now we have like 20,000 units in Amazon's warehouse, and that's fine because we have multiple products. We sell several hundred units a day, so so that does open up. But that's definitely a valid concern. I know I've had students where, like other students, where they had to like have some inventory shipped to a third party warehouse and have some things maybe shipped at their place or whatever until they were able to open up. So absolutely. Okay, cool, man. You just said earlier that one of the things that was keep holding you back, and kind of one of the first doubts that you had was, I'm just the guy trying to sell a product, where now, Amazon has like, professional sellers, people that have been selling for a while. Do you believe, where you sit today, that Amazon is saturated?
I don't think it's saturated yet. I think it's definitely has high numbers of sellers, but every day I think there are more buyers on the market.
Okay.
The more transition people are into e-commerce, I think the ceiling's not been hit yet.
Got it. So for someone coming in right now, do you think that they still have a potential of actually succeeding on as an Amazon seller?
I think so, just given my results within a month of having a listing activated and selling.
Right.
But it goes back to what you say and how you do it. You're not competing with the big fish out there.
Right.
If you immediately try to compete with those top sellers, then yeah, you're going to get crushed.
Okay.
But I think if you're finding your niche, that's where that upfront time requires focus, I think.
Awesome. And by the way, I didn't even know that you started with us in June. I thought it was like way earlier. So that was surprising to me, because you've actually progressed pretty quickly, so that's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, I started in June and I actually launched in September.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So it's just been really
that's pretty
recent.
quick. That's awesome. What is the one of the biggest things that you value at BJK University? What is that one thing for someone starting out? You're like, hey, make sure that you check that thing out. Make sure you utilize the hell out of it. What is that one thing for you?
Your program, seriously, your videos, your sequential step from week 1 to week 6, and how the way you break out your sections in every week is super, super important to me. And I can go back and I can go, okay, I need to go to week 4, or I need to go back to optimizing my listing. How did I do that? And being able to go in and see you do that just on demand, that's worth the weight in gold, in my opinion. I mean, that's that piece right there. If I had to walk away with one thing, that's what I'd walk away with and say, okay, that's what I would need.
That's awesome. Okay. What is your number one advice for people starting out, or people wanting to start out as Amazon sellers?
I would say this, guys, is once you commit, once you decide to say, I'm going to do this,
right,
then do it. Stick with Bashar and just block out all the other white noise from all the other people out there. because it will get confusing and you'll start to doubt yourself.
Mhm.
I did it. It took a while, but just make the decision and stick with what Bashar is doing and go through it and go through it again and again and again until you remember what he's talking about. Take notes. I mean, my God, I've filled up a notebook. Take notes. And write down what he says to write down.
Right. I know, you know, that when you said it earlier, I was like, wow, I actually do say that pretty often throughout the program. It's like, write this down.
Write this down.
Yeah, write this down.
Yeah, that's right. But no, man, I mean, it takes commitment. People are going to get scared. You're going to doubt things. You're going to doubt yourself. I've had to step back and just not come and do anything with this for 3-4 days before.
Yeah.
Where I just had to step back and I had to go, okay, I'm overloaded. I need to just do something different and process what you're telling me, because it's a whole ton of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what we pay for, right? That's the program. You've got a lot of stuff. But seriously, shut down the other crap out there. Just focus on what you're doing and how you're presenting it. And I think people can make it work.
And you're a big advocate for, hey, look, this is a real thing. This takes time. Like, I invested 30 hours a week. Don't expect anything less. Don't expect it to be any, you know, like this thing where you could just do on the weekends a few hours here and there and expect results.
Yeah, you know, Bashar, one of the things that I've noticed in our weekly meetings, Mondays and Fridays, and you know, people would ask questions about something in week 4 or week 3. And they would mention something that I think maybe they could have known if they watched week 1 first, or, you know, they really did learn it and study it a little bit.
Right.
That makes sense. It's sort of like, you know, if I ask you a question about a listing, but I don't know everything that goes in before a listing is made. I don't know. It's sort of like, just learn your ABCs first.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Take
You
it
know,
one step
and I'm
at a
still
time.
learning I'm still learning BJKU alphabet. I mean, seriously.
Take it one step at a time, right? And I think, you know, that was one of the biggest things and biggest reasons why we drip the content, so that way it's not all open, because people get overwhelmed and they start going here and here and here and just confuse themselves. So, well, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. Well, Ken, really appreciate your time. This was amazing. I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. Again, I think you've done an amazing job with the product that you have right now, with the package and differentiation, everything else. So if you are new to BJK University, or if you're thinking to enroll, when you do, please look for Ken. He'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. You'll probably see him show up in our weekly webinars and in the private sessions as well. Until then, thank you all. See you all later, and great day.